It's Thursday, Friday Eve. You know what that means. It's noon to 1 p.m. Central Time. It's time for the Houston Roundball Review Takeover, powered by JM&E. Streaming live on Roku via the BS3 Network. Let's get into it. Welcome again. I am KG Kris Gardner, owner of the Houston Roundball Review, local name, global perspective. I'm trying to squeeze in a lot in these 55 minutes of info, comments, hopefully from the fans who are watching me on Facebook, Musk, YouTube, Twitch, all these streaming platforms. You know how we do it here on Thursdays on the lunch break. The Houston Roundball Review Takeover, powered by JM&E. If you have a Roku streaming device, just download BS3 TV. If not, just go to BS3network.com or BS3TVlive.com. Get this out the way Monday evening. As expected, as I thought, the Rockets would destroy my woeful Detroit Pistons. They did so. 136-113. Dropped a 47-piece on them in the third quarter. Detroit's defense is a rumor. It's a myth. It's a missing person group. Their defense is awful. It's awful. 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 Dr. Maisha, how are you? Thank you for watching on Facebook. A lot to discuss. This Saturday, Big 12 men's basketball action. Game 1, weekend 1. The Houston Cougars' first Big 12 basketball game versus West Virginia. Going to talk about that momentarily. So don't flip that button on your phone, your TV device, whatever. I'm going to talk about some NCAA ESPN news first, then get to H-Town, hoops, basketball. You know how I do it here on the Takeover. But earlier Thursday, this is some big news. ESPN and NCAA announced a new 8-year deal worth reported $920 million. The agreement will give the network exclusive rights to 40 championships, including the Division I women's basketball tournament. Doc, reportedly, the deal has an average annual value of $115 million, an increase of more than 300% per year. I think the previous deal was like $27 million per year on what the previous 14-year deal with ESPN was paying the association. With this new agreement, NCAA members will explore revenue distribution units for this is Division I women's basketball tournament, which I thought up until 2 years ago, they were receiving units like their men's counterparts. Nope. Revenue distribution units for the men's tournament have existed for years. The Division I Board of Directors Finance Committee began discussion of revenue distribution philosophies and new models this year, and those discussions will continue with membership in the coming year. Let me talk about that real quick. Basically, men's tournament pays out, you make the tournament, you receive a unit. A unit is roughly 300 grand, roughly. Increases of like 3% every year for 6 years. So that unit goes to the school as well as a member conference. So over a 6-year period, one trip to the tournament, just first round basically, is like $1.8 million, $1 to $2 million just for making the tournament. You advance to the Final Four. Each round you advance, your payout increases. You get another unit. That's how it's been in men's hoops for a while with their TV deal. Women's basketball tournament had no units. There's no payout. First round, second round, semifinals, nothing. The schools get nothing. The conference gets nothing. Nothing. So with this new agreement, hopefully they will determine a formula to distribute some revenue units for the schools that qualify for the women's basketball NCAA tournament. Back to the press release, the announcements. The 40 NCAA events included in ESPN's new 8-year agreement include the men's championships, soccer, football on the FCS level, Division II, Division III, cross country, water polo, indoor track and field, swimming and diving, wrestling, ice hockey, gymnastics, fencing, volleyball, lacrosse, outdoor track and field, tennis, baseball, and basketball, including the Division II semifinals and D3 semifinals and championship. Women's championships include soccer, field hockey, volleyball, including D2 and D3, cross country, indoor track and field, swimming and diving, hoops, Division II and D3, ice hockey, bowling, gymnastics, fencing, beach volleyball. How about that? Beach volleyball. ESPN platform. How about that? Lacrosse, outdoor track and field, tennis, softball, and water polo. Also, the men's NIT National Invitation Tournament and the new women's basketball invitation tournament, the WBIT, as well as the NCAA Division I men's basketball championship international rights. I didn't know that was wasn't part of the deal for Turner, but there you go. The agreement calls for the NCAA and ESPN to work together to maximize exposure opportunities on ABC and ESPN throughout the term of the deal. The national championship game in Division I women's basketball, women's volleyball, women's gymnastics, and the football championship subdivision are guaranteed, Dr. Maisha, are guaranteed to air on ABC each year, though it does not guarantee any start times, with additional ABC exposure guaranteed within the overall softball and baseball championships as well. The agreement also includes a guarantee that at least 10 of the championships will have selection shows. Okay, y'all need more of those. But selection shows distributed on linear ESPN networks. And of course, this is where we are in technology. Select rounds of NCAA championships will be exclusively available on ESPN Plus. Gotta have that in there. So, thoughts on it's a good deal. It's all bundled together. There was some talk about the women's tournament, hoop tournament going separate, being unbundled. And, think about it. Other than ESPN, let's be realistic. Fans who are watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Musk, Roku. Other than ESPN, how many other platforms would dedicate and want to show women's basketball? Fox Sports here and there. But the national championship, really, if it became available to go to the bidding networks, how many networks have the capacity, have the space, have the technology to air the entire tournament on platforms suitable to guarantee good ratings? Not a lot, not very many. So ESPN and NCAA reached the agreement within this exclusive negotiating window. They kind of did something similar to what not quite, what Commissioner Yormark did with the Big 12. He didn't want to go to market like the Pac-12 did. And y'all know how that happened, how that ended up. But yes, so it's a big deal there. Kudos to the NCAA and ESPN. ESPN tournament, women's tournament will be on ABC, the championship game. I think this year, April 5th, April 7th, Sunday the 7th. The game will be on 2 p.m. on ABC. So not prime time yet, but 2 p.m. on ABC. Small steps forward. Okay. You saw a little teaser there. Basketball schedule for my Cougars, my alma mater. Always first on the show, on the takeover. I'm a proud UH alum. Men's hoops, 13-0. Last game, December 30th. Beat Penn, 81-42. 81-42. Rolled over Penn. This Saturday, Big 12 conference opener for the Cougars, hosting West Virginia. 1 o'clock. Game's going to be on Big 12 now on ESPN Plus. Dr. Maisha, the Houston Cougars women's basketball team has had 2 games in Big 12. They're 0-2. They lost in their home opener, December 30th, 79-71. Texas Tech. Good crowd, almost 2,000 folks. Mostly, probably mostly Texas Tech fans. Wednesday night, January 3rd. Coogs at K-State. K-State is ranked 11th, 12. Final score, 72-38. 72-38. K-State went on a 20-0 run in the third quarter. 20-0. One more time. 20-0. Excuse me. 20-0. The Cougs scored 14 points in the second half. 14. They made 5 of 26 field goals in the second half. They finished the game with 25 turnovers. K-State had 20 turnovers and still won by 34 points. And if you didn't see it, the Cougs' next game at Baylor, top 5 Baylor, top 10 Baylor, this Saturday in Waco. And this is it right here, right there. Little sisters, they're getting welcome to the Big 12. They sure are. They sure are. Boy. But so are the other newcomers. UCF, Cincinnati, BYU, also winless in Big 12 play. I think it's going to be like that all year. On the women's side, and possibly for some of the men's teams. Well, maybe UCF probably so. Yeah, UCF probably the only one, because BYU, Cincinnati, and UH men's side will hold their own and do quite well in Big 12 men's hoops. But yes, UH women are staring at 0-3 start after they go to Waco on Saturday. They'll come home from Baylor, come home 0-3 in conference play. Yeah, they'll come home, Miss Wanda, 0-3. Their first win, possibly in conference play, could be next Wednesday on the 10th against BYU, who will probably be winless in conference play as well. Oh, my goodness gracious. Got a man watching on Twitch sending me links. Hey, that's the first time we received Twitch links. But net rankings, let's go to the women's rankings real quick for Big 12. Look at that. Big 12 women's basketball in the net through games yesterday. Texas 3, Baylor 8, Kansas State 10, West Virginia 20, TCU 28, Iowa State 46, Kansas 54, Texas Tech 56. And let me stop right there. Miss Wanda, Doc Maisha. Cougs lost to Texas Tech by 8 at home last Saturday on December 30th. Texas Tech hosted Texas Wednesday night in Lubbock. Longhorns without their starting point guard, Roy Harmon, for the season due to a torn ACL during pregame against Jackson State last week. Longhorns won in Lubbock by like 20 points. So the Cougs lose Texas Tech in Houston by 8. Texas Tech goes home, face the Longhorns, and lose by 20. Woo! Longhorns come to town next month on Valentine's Day. Boy. Back to the rankings. Women's hoops. Oklahoma, 67. Oklahoma State, 69. UCF, newcomer, 95. BYU, newcomer, 96. Cincinnati, newcomer, 99. And Houston, newcomer, 100. So then 4 newcomers, 95, 96, 99, 100. The other 8, 3 through 69. So you see a gap, 69 to 95. The Little Sisters indeed are being welcomed to the Big 12 in women's basketball. So let's get to the schedule for this Saturday, and then we'll get to the fellas and talk about the Cougars matchup against West Virginia this Saturday, as well as hear some comments from head coach Kelvin Sampson about West Virginia. But first, this Saturday, women's basketball. Look at the records. All the games streaming. First up, Cincinnati, 8-5 overall, 0-2 in conference. At Oklahoma, 8-5, 2-0 in conference. Game is on Sooner Vision on ESPN Plus. Tip off noon. That second one. Looking forward to that second one. See if West Virginia is real, is legit. Hosting the Longhorns. Longhorns 14-1, 1-1 in conference play. Their one loss to Baylor last Saturday. Game was on Fox. I sure can. I will do that momentarily. I will explain the net rankings momentarily. Yes, ma'am. I sure will. Longhorns 14-1 at the undefeated West Virginia Mountaineers, led by J.J. Quinley. 13-0, 2-0 in conference. 1 o'clock. Big 12 now on ESPN Plus. Next, K-State 14-1, 2-0 after thrashing the Cougars last night. At UCF, newcomer, 9-3, 0-2 in Big 12. Also 1 o'clock on Big 12 now, ESPN Plus. As we touched on, the Cougars heading to Waco this Saturday in the new arena that opened up on Tuesday. Baylor undefeated, rolling. Wins over top 5 teams, top 10 teams, undefeated, 2-0 in conference play as well. 2 o'clock. So while we're inside for Teeter Center watching the men play. Watch on your phone. The Cougars are doing if you want to. I'm not sure you want to. I don't know about that. But who knows? Excuse me, got tickled today. Kansas at Texas Tech. KU coming off a WNIT championship. Boy, that was last year. This year, 7-6. 0-2 in Big 12. In Lubbock. Against Texas Tech. 12-3, 1-1. 2 o'clock. Big 12 now. Oklahoma State, 8-5. Cowgirls, 1-1 in Big 12 at TCU. TCU coming off a 21-point loss to Baylor on the road. But hosting the Cowgirls this Saturday, 4 o'clock. Big 12 now. Last but not least, Iowa State, women's hoops, Coach Finley. You got a young team, but 2-0 in Big 12. Going on the road to Provo, facing a newcomer, BYU to the conference. BYU looking for their first conference win, 0-2, 5 o'clock on ESPN Plus. Big 12 now, ESPN Plus. Okay. Doc asked me to explain the net rankings. It's different from the past. It's not the RPI. It's a ranking. Women's a little bit different than the men committee. But different factors are involved. Some different metrics are involved. Margin of victory, location, neutral site, home win, road win. Teams get a little bit more of a bump if you win on the road against a quality opponent. You do winning at home. And I'm going to take a break and drink some water. You're watching the Houston Roundball View Takeover, powered by JM&E. Be right back in 90 seconds, if not longer.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Welcome back to the Houston Roundball Review Takeover on the lunch break, powered by JM&E and also the BS3 Network. If you have a Roku streaming device, just download BS3 TV. If not, you can go to bs3network.com or bs3tvlive.com. I am KD Kris Gardner, owner of the Houston Roundball Review, explaining the net rankings, the net and what it is. It stands for NCAA Evaluation Tool. It's a compilation of metrics, mostly predictive, some past, of what the committee uses to determine success of a team. Conference affiliation has no bearing on it, supposedly, but it's just a tool that the committee uses, women's side especially. It's like one of 14 different subjective metrics total that they use to place the teams in the brackets for the NCAA tournament, in a nutshell. So you see it again. Women's hoops, the 4 newcomers to the Big 12, 95, 96, 99, 100. And it's ranking of all the Division I teams in basketball. It's also available on NCAA.com website. More of an explanation for it there of what it is, how it works, how it's evaluated, compiles, all those good things. Women's basketball was done. Big 12 men's hoops. CBS, Big 12 game, CBS, 1 o'clock Central. TCU at Kansas. TCU at Kansas. Should be a good one. Hopefully, maybe. But that second game on the schedule, on the docket, Doc cares about more. Maisha, Miss Wanda Poe cares about it more. Cougar fans watching care about it way more. West Virginia, 5-8. But don't let that record fool you. The 3 best players have only played the last 4 games. Because of eligibility issues, transfer approval, you get the idea. So don't let the record fool you that they're 5-8. Oh, man. And plus, jumping real quick, the net ranking is 167. Based on the previous 10 games, it all counts. The whole schedule counts part of the net. And the net changes daily based on who you play, and who you played plays also. So if you play somebody good and they win, after you face them, that also helps you in the net. It changes every day. So West Virginia's current ranking of the net is 167. But it's based on the first 10 games of the season, 9 or 10. The team wasn't whole and was missing their best players. And if you don't believe me, head coach Kelvin Sampson, I asked him about their leading scorer, Raekwon Battle, who's been named the Player of the Week for the Big 12 back-to-back weeks, 2 weeks in a row. He's averaging 27, 29 points a game. So you will see Raekwon and the Cougars going against the Cougars this Saturday. I asked Coach Sampson about Raekwon Battle, what makes him so good, and then Coach, being coach, gives you an answer about Raekwon as well as West Virginia's entire team. Check it out. Raekwon Battle so good, in your opinion?
He's talented. God gifted him with great talent. He's has really, really long arms, 6'5", extremely athletic. He's a good shooter. He's a good scorer. A lot of scorers aren't good shooters. There's a lot of good shooters that are not good scorers. He can do both, and he plays on a team where he's allowed to be a volume shooter. So because of that, he's going to put up big numbers. But he's fearless, and the new coach there, Coach Eilert, has done an unbelievable job of integrating him back into how they play. He's their focal point. And it also helps that they've got a veteran point guard that's played at the highest level and won at the highest level in Kris. So they've got a good team. You know, the uninitiated will look at their record and say, well, they're not that good. Well, that's being lazy. Do your research. They may be the most snake-bit team in America. You know, Battle just got cleared, 4 games ago. Kris, I think, missed the first 9 games. I think that's what his penalty was, if I'm not mistaken. I think I'm right. And then the other kid, Farrakhan. You know, we've talked with some people that said they couldn't believe how good Farrakhan was. So you know, they've got a high level backcourt. And you really can only scout them from their last 3 or 4 games because they've just gotten all their kids back. You know, like I said, they've been snake bit. And they still have their center out who is recovering from a broken wrist. So this team's been snake bit. They've got everybody back. They just took Ohio State to overtime. And then when you watch them play, the thing that jumps out is how good they are individually as players. They've got high-level talent. They've got a 4-man that's the perfect glue guy in Slazinski. Does a little bit of everything. Smart, tough, can shoot it, can put it on the floor, can pass. They got the big kid. We played against him actually when he was at Connecticut, Acoke. And then the big kid came off the bench, Sumnick, who was their best pick against Ohio State, really helped them down the stretch there. So very talented team. You know, we'll have our hands full with this.
There you go. Head coach Kelvin Sampson give you a summary scouting report of WVU, the West Virginia Mountaineers. Some would say, oh, Kris, it's just coach speak. Coach does that. He does that, honestly. But it is factual. The Mountaineers have played 13 games in non-conference, but 9 or 10 of those were without their best players. Their best players, most of them will be back, are back, and will face the Cougs this Saturday, tip-off 1 o'clock inside the house of Fertitta. And I think there's a giveaway as well to the first 1,500 fans. You'll get a red T-shirt, I believe. So be there early. It's the first game that the Cougs are playing in the Big 12. Cougs' first Big 12 game. You don't get another first. There's not going to be another first Big 12 conference opener for the Houston Cougars men's basketball team. Get there early. It's a Saturday. Be in your seats at tip-off. I know it's on ESPN Plus, so it won't be on ABC or the big 4 letters, but still. The money folks, the folks who make way more money than me or have invested in or inherited way more money than me, be in those great seats, be in those money seats at tip-off, please. Please. Should be a good game. Yes, it's a home game. The Cougs should win it, clearly. It's a home game. But don't let the Mountaineers' record of 5-8 fool you. Coach Sampson gave you the reasons why they're 5-8. They've been without 3 of their best players for most of the season until the last week or so. So, Cougs, West Virginia, 1 o'clock, H-Town, game on Big 12 now on ESPN Plus, and of course, if you have not subscribed to ESPN Plus, you can go to the Houston Roundball Review website and click on the links there to subscribe. I'm a website affiliate, so I do receive a nominal commission for those who sign up to ESPN Plus, Disney Plus via my website. Back to the schedule. Baylor, 11-2 in Stillwater. Oklahoma State, 8-5. Oklahoma State, boy, coach needs to do some things there. Kind of turn things around, cool off his seat. His seat kind of warm up there. Coach Mike Boynton. 2 o'clock on Big 12 Now, ESPN Plus. Iowa State, 11-2 in Norman. against the Sooners. Sooners 12-1. 5 o'clock. Sooner Vision, ESPN Plus. In the last 3 games on the schedule for the men's hoops, for Big 12 men's hoops, all on ESPN2. It's a little bit different than being an American. When you have one game on ESPN2, one game maybe on ESPNU, and maybe every once in a while, Houston or Memphis were on ESPN. Last 3 games this Saturday, ESPN2 on the Deuce. UCF, 9-3, one of the newcomers. Manhattan, Kansas, at K-State, 10-3, 5 o'clock on the Deuce. Texas Tech, at the Longhorns in Austin, both teams 11-2, 7 o'clock on the Deuce. And last but not least, a battle of 2 of the 4 newcomers. Cincinnati, 11-2, at BYU. BYU is one of the surprises of men's basketball this season. 12-1. I think BYU was picked to finish 13th in the coaches poll this year, Big 12 conference play. 13th. BYU, 12-1. BYU in the net, Doc. Look at that. Number 2 in the net. What they did non-conference. Number 2. Number 1, of course, Houston. Houston has 4 quad 1 wins. Now, the men's side, a little bit different. I'll get back to this in just a second. But the net rankings for the men's basketball, quad 1, quad 2, quad 3, quad 4. Quad 1 basically is 1 to 50, basically. And then part of that quad 1 divided up into quad 1A and quad 1B. 1A is 1 to 25, 1B is 26 to 50. You win at home over a quad 1 team like BYU. If Houston beats BYU, it's 1 versus 2. So that's a quad 1, 1A matchup, basically. Okay. Quad 3, quad 4. Quad 3 is roughly 101 to 150, roughly. And 151 and above is quad 4. West Virginia, for right now, is a quad 4. I believe that's correct. At 167. I think that's right. So, conference play until the tournament, the conference championship, either home or road games. And then the conference championship will be all neutral site matchups. And that all takes into account part of the net rankings. Your net ranking will change based on you have a neutral site win, a neutral site loss, a road win, road loss, home win, home loss. If the Cougs lose at Kansas 11 in the net, that's a road game for the Cougs. It won't hurt them in the net rankings very much, as opposed to if the Cougs lost at home this Saturday to West Virginia because of where West Virginia is ranked in the net. It'd be a bad loss for the Cougars to lose to a team ranked 167 as opposed to losing to a team ranked 11 on the road. Does that make sense right there, Doc? So, yes. So you see overall, 11 of the 14 men's basketball teams are ranked in the top 67. The top 3 of the top 8 are in the Big 12. 4 of the top 11 are in the Big 12. 5 of the top 17 are in the Big 12. 6 of the top 30 are in the Big 12. You get the idea. Big 12 men's basketball ain't no joke. Big 12 basketball is, top to bottom, the best conference in men's basketball. And notice what I said, top to bottom. I know the Big East is very top-heavy. UConn, reigning champs, Marquette, Creighton, I know that. But then going into DePaul and those others down there at the bottom, wider range there. SEC has a lot of teams in the bracketology for the tournament. Big 12's head-to-head matchups with the SEC record, I think it was like 14-3, something like that, in favor of the Big 12. you get the idea. Yeah, Big 12 men's basketball, top to bottom, is the best conference in men's college basketball. And yes, Doc is full of comments today, and I like it. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. And of course, let me do this real quick. Let me see if I can do this correctly. Give her a salute and a thank you for her comment, taking time to watch the show as well as comment on during the show. Thank you very much. Tony M, thank you, Tony. Salute to you as well. Probably going to have a Rocket show this evening. Talk about the Rockets' 2-game winning streak over the woeful Pistons and the Brooklyn Nets, who've lost 5 in a row. But the Rockets, Kent Whitmore, doing his thing. But yes, back to it. The Cougars host Kansas. Senior day for the Cougars, Saturday, March 9th. That game could be for the Big 12 regular season championship. Could. But what a matchup. Matchups like that the Cougs face in Big 12 play. Back to it. Back to the net rankings list. Look at that. Look at that gauntlet. Look at that. 1, Houston. 2, BYU. 8, Iowa State. 11, Kansas. 17, Baylor. 29, Oklahoma. 37, newcomer. Look at that. Compare the newcomers in Big 12 men's basketball. Houston 1, BYU 2, Cincinnati 37. Newcomers on the women's side, 95, 96, 99, 100. So there is a difference. TCU 44. Texas Tech 50. Texas 51. Those two kind of flip-flop daily in the net rankings. Longhorns yesterday ranked 47. They didn't play yesterday. Now they're 51. So based on who you play, who the opponents of your schedule, all that kind of stuff changes and impacts your net rankings. So Texas went from 47 to 51 today. They did not play yesterday, but the net changed and dropped. UCF, newcomer, 67. Now look at this. UCF is the last of the 4 newcomers. Their net is ahead of 3 of the regulars in the Big 12. K-State, 94. Oklahoma State, 129. And WVU at 167. It's going to be fun, competitive schedule matchups in Big 12 men's basketball play. You see the schedule there right there again this Saturday, January 6th, starting 1 o'clock, CBS, TCU at Kansas. 1 o'clock, West Virginia at Houston on Big 12 Now on ESPN+. Full slate of action. All 14 teams, men's teams, are in action on Saturday, and all 14 teams, women's Big 12, are in action on Saturday. You're watching the Houston Roundball Review Takeover, powered by JM&E, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Musk, and of course, Roku via the BS3 Network. I'm going to jump around to the final slide. Thrillo, big Thrillo, hope you're watching or watching later on. The SWAC tips off their HBCU Go matchups this Saturday. 8 weekends during SWAC play, starting this Saturday. All these games, doubleheader. So it's men and women, ladies first, for all of the doubleheaders. This Saturday, Alcorn at Jackson State. Next one, January 20th, Southern at Grambling. 8 different pairings. Alabama A&M at TSU, January 27th. Prairie View is not listed. I got to find out why. Because I would think part of any TV deal, agreements with a conference, that you'd want to have each of your member institutions part of the package. No Prairie View. You got Valley twice. Valley is one of the worst men's and women's basketball programs in the country. Why they're on here twice, I have no idea. I don't understand that. Bethune-Cookman's on here twice. But Bethune-Cookman women are doing pretty well. But why Valley's on here twice, I have no idea. No idea. Hell. The last weekend should be Prairie View at TSU or TSU Prairie View, whatever it is. That should be on TV. That should be on HBCU Go. Not sure why it's not. But back at it. January 6th, Alcorn at Jackson State. January 20th, Southern at Grambling. January 27th, Alabama A&M here in town against TSU. February 3rd, Bethune-Cookman at Alabama A&M. Feb 10, Alcorn at Pine Bluff. 17th February, Valley at Alabama A&M. March 2nd, Bethune-Cookman at Southern. And wrapping it up, March 9th, Valley at Jackson State. There you go. The 24 season conference play, SWAC men's and women's basketball, HBCU Go schedule, tipping off this Saturday, high noon, Central Time, featuring Alcorn at Jackson State. And let me say, going backwards, TSU men's basketball got their second win of the season last week over the College of Biblical Studies, 108-72. The women's team for College of Biblical Studies was in the news. They lost to Grambling this week, like, what was it, 149-14, something like that? 141-14, 141-14. It was awful. It was like a 100-point margin of victory. The College of Biblical Studies. Look it up. It's new, and you can decide what it is, like a factory kind of thing, paper out or whatever. But TSU women, 1-10. They lost their last home game of 2023 versus Charleston State, 52-40. But SWAC play starts this weekend, this Saturday. The ladies first, TSU at Southern, 3 o'clock. Doubleheader. Men after that, 5:30. And then on Monday, TSU at Grambling, women 5:30. Men, says 7:30. But roughly 30 minutes after the end of the women's game, so probably 8 o'clock. Money game, but how much money are they getting from SWAC schools? I don't know, but still. They're not basketball institutions. You know, based on their name, I hope they really are a true College of Biblical Studies and just not. I won't even go any further, but you get the idea where I'm going. Rice is in the news, and not for a good reason. I'll get into it momentarily. Rice men lost Wednesday night on ESPNU in New Orleans at Tulane, 84-59, to fall to 0-1 in conference play in the American, 6-8 overall. Rice women won their first AAC game, American Athletic Conference game, against Wichita State to improve to 1-0 in conference play. Won by 12, 76-64. The Owls had 5 players score in double figures. The game took place. It did not take place at Rice. It was not inside Tudor Fieldhouse. The game took place inside Fertitta Center. If you have not heard, seen, read, Tudor Fieldhouse has water damage. Not many details, specifics are in the press release that the school sent out. But I've heard, I won't go into specifics, but I've been told that there may be some negligence involved that caused the water damage. The court has damage. Not sure how severe the damage is, but Rice men are scheduled to host UTSA this Saturday at 2 o'clock. I'm not sure where that game is going to take place because of the damage to the court inside Tudor Fieldhouse. I have not seen pictures. I have requested them. I've heard, oh, it's bad. So if the court is, how bad is bad? Will they have to go back to an older court? Because the court was brand new. First year in the American. The new court was put down in August. It's damaged. Does Rice have the ability to get a replacement court installed in time for this Saturday's game? How much water damage is it? Is it just to the court? Did it impact any of the seats? Did it impact any of the equipment? We don't know. But the press release, one of the last sentences in the press release was basically, stay tuned to Rice Athletics for more information regarding the location of the basketball games this season. Let's see if I can pull it up real quick. Because it's not, I'll be very surprised if the game this Saturday for the men takes place at Rice. Status of future home games for Rice will be determined at a later time. That was the last sentence in the press release. The status of future home games for Rice will be determined at a later time. All Rice basketball games, home games, road games as well in the American, are scheduled to be aired on ESPN Plus. So Rice has to, locally, go to have a facility, a replacement that has ESPN Plus set up. That's not TSU. HCU has it, but it's HCU. It's kind of far away, smaller venue. We all know Fertitta Center has it, but the Rice UTSA game is scheduled at 2 o'clock this Saturday. Well, UH men are playing West Virginia at 1 o'clock. So will that Rice game be moved to later on in the evening if it has to go over to Houston? Could it be a 7 o'clock start? What is going to take place? What is going to happen? Again, Rice, the status of future home games for Rice will be determined at a later time. Rice women, their second game of conference play will be Sunday on the road in Dallas against SMU. So it won't be an issue for them for their next home game. But Rice men, that game against UTSA, not sure it's going to take place at Rice. So stay tuned. You might get emails, see posts on social media about the location for that Rice Owls men's game against UTSA. Heck, it wouldn't surprise me if it's rescheduled for Houston, for Fertitta Center, Saturday evening or Saturday night. Who knows? Prairie View men, losing streak. Lost at UTSA 103-89 on the 28th of December. Then lost at Texas A&M by 25 on December 30th. But they're starting SWAC play on Saturday. PV women coming off a win, blasted Wiley College 107-32. Wiley College is legit historical college, unlike the College of Biblical Studies. But PV will be on the road this Saturday, women first at Grambling, 2 o'clock. Men after that. And then Monday in Baton Rouge at Southern, women first, 5:30. Men after that, 8 o'clock. HCU. Men, 2-9. Begin Southland Conference play this Saturday. Home against Nichols. Another reason why the Rice men can't play at Sharp Gym, because the men's game is at 3:30. Women had their first Southland Conference game. They lost on the road in Corpus to A&M Corpus Christi, to the Islanders. Lost by a score of 73-49. Their next game this Saturday, they're going to host Nichols. 1 o'clock inside Sharp Gym. Game can be seen on ESPN+. Men's next game after the game against Nichols, Monday on the road in Corpus against A&M Corpus Christi, 7 o'clock on ESPN+. So that'll do it. Thank you to Tony, Doc, Miss Wanda, everybody watching, the newcomers watching the show. Back at it. Reminder, the Houston Cougars men's basketball games, their Cougs' first Big 12 conference opener this Saturday in H-Town against West Virginia. 1 o'clock tip-off. It's, I believe, a red out. As Doc says right here, it's a red out. So Coug fans, wear your red. The first 1,500 fans will receive, in attendance, will receive a red T-shirt. Get there early. Heck, I don't know about the weather forecast, but, 1 o'clock start on a Saturday. Do some tailgating. It's tradition. Tailgating is a thing for football. Let's make it a thing for basketball on the weekend. Do some tailgating. Set it up. Cougars are in the big time now. It's big time basketball. Big 12 basketball. Tailgate. Celebrate. Enjoy life in the Big 12. Miss Wanda's words are matched by numerous Cougar alums, Cougar fans, Cougar supporters. Houston Cougars men's basketball is now in the big time, officially in a big time conference. They're nationally relevant, have been for a while, unlike their female counterparts, who, if you missed it, lost Wednesday night to K-State, 72-38 on the road to the Wildcats, scoring a grand total of 14 points in the second half in the loss to K-State. Houston Cougars women's team is 0-2 in the Big 12. Their third conference game this Saturday in Waco against Baylor. Undefeated Baylor. One of the best teams in the country, Baylor. So the Cougs are probably going to be 0-3 women's hoops in Big 12 play. But men's hoops, lastly. Houston Cougars men's hoops, 13-0, hosting West Virginia, who has their best players now, their last 4 games. Should be a good one. Should be better than folks think because of it. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. Tony M., barring the tickle monster returning to my throat, I will do a rocket show this evening so I can take the friendly ribbing from my LTHR family, my Let's Talk Houston Rockets kinfolk, for Rockets destroying the sorry Pistons on Monday. It's all good. Subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to the Houston Roundball Review on YouTube. Crossed 7,000 on YouTube a few days ago. 7,000. Now at more than 10,000 on the various social media platforms. So if you want to advertise on all these shows that the Roundball Review does, the Takeover, Let's Talk Houston Rockets, Folks Talking Sports, email me for more info at kgardner@thehrr.com. Wrapping it up. The Houston Roundball Review since 1994. This is 2024. The Houston Roundball Review. Local name, global perspective. Y'all take care. Peace.